Hello everybody, hope you're doing okay. Welcome to, once again to Basingstoke track. It's also a track that you can usually get on at any time of the day, so it's quite handy for a session whatever time of the day I feel like it. It's Saturday evening, it's just gone 7. I've been for a 3-mile warm-up. I'm feeling a bit tired today, so not quite sure what to do. So I think I'll do 10 4s with a minute, so I'll keep the next percents on. I did bring some spikes with me, including the Maxfly, the Air Zoom Victory and the Dragonfly. I was going to do a bit of a comparison, but I think that might be a bit risky. So I think maybe I'll do about 6 or 7 400s in the next percent, and then I'm going to switch over to spikes at the end if I feel okay. Right, I've done a good warm-up, so just need to do a few strides really. Okay. Okay, 4 down, about 80, so that's good. I think the battery's about to go, so I'll switch off until the end. Okay, session done in the next percent. I did all 10 in the end just to get the minutes rest. That was a good session. I averaged about 80. Last one was 75, I put more effort in. But I just find it tough on the bends with the next percent. Still a bit cautious of this quad injury I had in May, so I really do feel that burn around the corners. I did a 5,000 track race in them a couple of years ago. That was more like about 90 a lap rather than 80 a lap, so noticeable difference in the torque as you're on the bends. God knows how you do a 60-second lap in them, but I guess you would fly down the straights, wouldn't you? And yeah, so let's put these spikes on, I'll show you them. So here we have the full range of Nike Go Faster kit. I've got the next percent I did the session on. I've got the Dragonflies, it's last year's colourway. Air Zoom Victory is last one's colourway, I've got those in December. And these are the Maxfly Sprint spikes I haven't actually worn yet. Now these are the Dragonflies. So one myth about these, they don't actually have a carbon plate in it. That sort of red line there is what we believe is a P-Bax plate, which is sort of like a hard sort of plastic. So it's sort of like a carbon plate, but not actually carbon. So big myth about these shoes that they don't actually have carbon in. This is the Air Zoom Victory. This is the spike recommended for like 8s and 15s. So the Air Zoom Victory is just a bit stiffer. They've got this Air Zoom pocket there, and that's quite hard to bend those at all. It's quite hard to bend the Dragonflies, but you do sort of get a bit of flex in them. Whereas these Maxflies, they don't actually have any ZoomX in it. I'm not quite sure what this red material is at the back. For a sprint spike, they've actually got some cushioning, but they've got this like air pocket here, similar to the Zoom Victories, but it's just a bit stiffer still. So if I try and bend that one with one hand, it's just not moving at all. Let's just put these on, do a couple of strides in them, see how they feel. Okay, Maxfly's on. They're not quite as extreme as I thought. You could sort of rock back on the hills a bit, but I don't think they'll be running on the hills much when they do a little sprint. So I'd run that way because the wind's slightly behind. About 100 meters, not flat out, but just sort of enough to give these a test and see if I can in any way engage these. I think of all the years I've been running, this is the first time I've ever worn a pair of sprint spikes, and these are probably the most expensive and lauded sprint spikes ever. But yeah, I've never been a sprinter. I could do a 52 in a relay, but 54.2 was my best in a flat 4. So I was more of an 8 and 15 runner. Used to do the 4x4 leg at the end of a sort of a league match where I'd done the 8 and 15 normally, so I was often a bit tired. But yeah, I was going to hold my own, but if there's a pure sprinter there, they would just fly past like I was standing still. Right, let's see if I can survive these then. So 3 down, the first was about 17 and the other 2 about 16.5 seconds for 100. Not exactly Usain Bolt speed, is it? But yeah, you can definitely tell that these are a lot stiffer. It feels pretty uncomfortable actually on the forefront. I think, not sure that I'm actually running fast enough to feel the burn. Actually, when you rock back, they sort of feel quite comfortable. But so if you're a hill striker, never touch your forefront, you might be alright in these. But as I have one more go, see if I can duck under 16 without pulling something. Would you believe 16.04? Small margins in sprints. That's one more go then. $15.49. I think I need to have one more go. See if we can go just a bit quicker. I was at 15.5 at that same time with a flying start, and yeah, 54-year-old legs are quite what they were. 12.6 was my best in 100. I said I was never a sprinter. I think I ran against Tony Underwood once, who's the England rugby player. We had a match against Cambridge B team, and they had this bizarre sort of all-weather sprint straight in the middle of the track at Milton Road when it was a cinder track. I'm not sure that one's even still there actually, because I think there was all-weather one somewhere else. Anyway, I remember racing against him. He obviously won, I didn't, but yeah, that was my PB back in the, must have been the late 1980s, I think. So while I'm here, just a very quick look at the shoe. Let's see how stiff it is. Like, you can't bend that at all there like that. It's just rock solid. If you compare that to the next percent, which is pretty stiff, but you know, there is a bit of flex there for sure. So you've got what's called a fly weave upper. It's quite a thick material, I think, for sort of like racing materials. Not quite sure why it's so thick. Maybe that's more for aerodynamics, I don't know. Because these shoes are in elite sprinters going like 25 miles an hour. Now I've got this air pocket here, and it feels very rigid under the foot. Even though that is an air pocket there, it feels like you've got an awful lot of stiff carbon underneath you there. And this bit, obviously, you don't really touch your toes, even running in my 15.5 second 100 meters, you don't really touch your toes there at all. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spikes on the back, and you can sort of see there, you can put sort of little things that are down here. Ouch. These are new spikes in today, so they feel quite sharp still. Secret with spikes is not to actually get your spikes actually that blunt, and my Dragonflies are actually quite blunt now, and they don't really sort of sell replacement spikes, and these ones sort of like a goldy material here. So obviously with Tokyo in mind, very much the Tokyo colourway with this sort of red and whitey thing, the touch of the Nike yellow. I've got my yellow socks on today, got the FOD runner kit as well. You probably can't even see me, can you? Anyway, so not really a proper review of the Maxfly. I'm not really in a position to review sprint spikes, I think, running 15.5 seconds with a flying start, but I guess it's not too bad speed for a 54-year-old. And if I can do my 800s anywhere near that sort of speed. Well, I'm trying to break 2:18 was my time last year, and 4:56 in the 15. So I've got a couple of 8s and 15s coming up, and also a 10,000 track race. I haven't done a 10,000 track race for years, so this will probably be my one and only chance to do one as an M50, because I'm hitting one in 55 in November 22nd. So it's like a vacant club record in the 10,000 track. So it's basically me against Chris Ness, and he's got the slight edge on me at the moment, but he'll tend to do a 10,000 in a sort of a double decathlon, where he's obviously not quite as fit as he could be. So if I can do sort of a sub 40 there, that would be good. And the aim, of course, is to actually get to the line. Because I've got 15 first, then I've got a couple of 800s lined up, and there's also a mile in there somewhere as well, then the 10,000. So I may have to miss 1 or 2 of them, depending how I go. But the Watford Open meeting is probably my next race, so probably my one last chance for a good 15 this year. Anyway, hope you found this interesting, and look forward to see you next one then. Bye!